Welcome to Lifting the Veil with Terri and Rhonda, a podcast that brings you inside the world of communication from spirits, ghosts, angels, and more. You'll learn about links with the world beyond, spirit beings, and those who are between worlds. Terri and Rhonda have decades of first-hand experience. Please join us for a fascinating voyage. Hi, this is James. In a little over 2 weeks, on March 23, 2023, a planetary change is starting that will bring the world a brand new energy, a very positive one. Pluto is coming out of Capricorn and going into Aquarius. Please get ready to take some notes as you listen to Michele Walker bring us this news of a generational change. I'm not exaggerating here. We're moving into very different times. This Pluto transformation is going to be very powerful. Please listen.
Hi everyone, it's Terri and Rhonda, and we have Michele Walker with us again today. And we're excited because she's got some really great news for 2023. Right, Michele?
I do, absolutely. Lots of big changes, Miss Terri. It's very good to be here. So, yes, we have major planetary shifts that are happening in 2023, and they're going to be game changers for us, for all of us. And when we talk about astrology, we personalize it, and rightfully so. We think about our sun sign and our rising and all of that good stuff and how it applies to us. But a lot of times we don't realize that countries, nations, everything has a birth date. Everything has an astrological sign, like our country. We're born in July 4th, 1776. And actually, it's kind of interesting. We are a Cancer, but our nation is a Capricorn rising. Just to kind of give you a little interesting tidbit, Pluto is just getting ready to experience its Pluto return. I mean, the United States is getting ready to experience its Pluto return again in December, which is kind of cool. Whenever countries or anyone experiences any kind of return in their chart, that's a very significant occurrence that happens. But anyway, a lot of major planets are going to be changing signs this year, and it's all happening in March. We have Saturn, which is our teacher planet. It's sort of our taskmaster. It's our karma planet. It wants to show us the right way. It's entering Pisces now. It's been in Aquarius for a couple of years. And on March 7th, it is shifting into Pisces, which is going to really kind of bring about a different lesson for everyone. Everyone's lesson plan and curriculum is going to change once Saturn shifts into Pisces. So that's going to be a really important event for all of us. Collectively, Saturn in Pisces is going to be, it kind of coincides with the dissolution of old, outdated systems. So what we're going to find is things that no longer work for us collectively, either personally or collectively, are going to go by the wayside, which is kind of a cool thing. What kind of thing do you think you would like to see go by the wayside, Terri and Rhonda? Patriarchy, yes, exactly. And that's a big one. And speaking of patriarchy, we have Pluto, which has been in Capricorn for, I don't even know how many years. Over 10, 12, 15 years, something like that. It's going into Aquarius on Terri's birthday on March 23rd. And that is so significant for everyone, for our country, for our world, and for us personally. When Pluto changes signs, it changes the whole air and tone of our world. When Pluto is transiting Capricorn, there was a lot of emphasis on the patriarchy, on the way things used to be. Also control. There's a lot of, now I don't get me wrong here. Capricorn's got a lot of really great things going for it. It's a hardworking sign. It's upwardly mobile, but you can kind of see that in the air with Pluto being in Capricorn. I mean, you think of things like Wall Street and attention to work and overwork. I mean, our society is filled with overworkers, people that are missing out on life because they're so nose to the grindstone. Well, that is Pluto in Capricorn all over the place. With Pluto going into Aquarius on March 23rd, we are going to, it's not going to happen overnight, but we're going to start to have a shift in our consciousness from patriarchy to freedom.
That's great.
Yes, which is just going to be
That's my favorite word,
It is.
freedom.
It's gonna be a real power to the people kind of moment. We're gonna have big shifts towards, equity, a fair future. And we can all work together to share collectively towards these goals. And so that's something that's really gonna be.
Well, I just did the numbers on 2023 for July 4th, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 9.
Oh,
which is the number of completion.
Oh.
So it makes sense that we'd be transitioning next year into maybe a new cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes along with what you were saying about Pluto.
absolutely.
And Pluto's my planet too, my little dwarf planet.
That's right. That's right. If you have Scorpio anywhere, rising or Scorpio sun, then Pluto is one of your ruling planets that you have. And I know for Terri, that's one of her ruling planets as well, because she's Scorpio rising. So what is your rising sign again, Rhonda?
I am a Sun Scorpio and Cancer rising, Cancer moon.
That's right. I should have remembered that because I'm a Cancer rising too. So your other sub-ruling planet is, we say it's a planet, but it's the moon, but is your other ruling planet because you have the Cancer rising there. So that's that's really
the luminary.
Absolutely. The funny thing though about having that Cancer rising, if you have any kind of Cancer in your sign, that when you're controlled by the moon, we have a tendency to be a little more moody because our moods shift as per the moon, and the moon shifts like every day and a half, goes into another sign. That's why they have people pegged, if you're a Cancer, as being a moody kind of sign. So those are a couple of really interesting things happening in March this year. And those are not insignificant little planetary changes. These are big generational changes that are going to usher in brand new energy for us. So it's very interesting.
I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
It is.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too.
I love the return of the sun anyway. And, March is spring is happening and stuff, and things are waking up. And this is nice. This is going to be, and we're going to have to celebrate your birthday extra special this year, Terri. And exciting because
maybe I'll fly down to Florida.
Taking me with
you. Let's go to Disney World.
But Terri has this happening on her birthday, and on my birthday was the lunar eclipse. So that was really pretty awesome for me since I have the moon with my rising and also with my emotions.
I want to ask you, Michele, something. Rhonda, now we're taping this on December 5th.
Yes.
2022. And Rhonda today came into the house and she says, I feel something bad is coming. Didn't you say that?
Yes, I did.
Do you know anything about anything in the very near future? I know this is going to be shared with everyone in March, but I just wondered if you were picking up anything astrologically that's going on right now.
Well, there are a couple things that Rhonda could be feeling. One thing, you are very sensitive to the moon, Rhonda. We have a full moon on the 7th, and that's in 2 days. And if you're anything like me,
okay,
you can hermetically seal me up in a box chamber somewhere, and I swear I know when the moon is full. I can look out, and because I just feel a sense of tension. I feel a little on edge, and I feel that too. This week I had major Monday angst this morning when I woke up. I didn't want to start my week, and I think that has to do with that moon cycle. I think that's a big part of it. Also, we just had, of course, talking about December aspects, but we have something that's really cool that's going on right now. Neptune and Jupiter. Neptune just moved forward on the 3rd. And that was a real energy crescendo for Neptune and Jupiter because they're both transiting Pisces. This is an unusual transit. I don't want to go too much into this because when people are hearing this show, this will have passed. But what's cool about this transit is, if you think about it, it takes Jupiter 12 years to go through all the signs. It spends about a year in every sign. It takes Neptune 150 years to go through all the signs.
Wow.
So if you think the chances of having Jupiter and Neptune in transiting, they're the ruling planet that it's in, both in Pisces, because they're both the ruling planets of Pisces. I don't know of any astrologer that's even done the math as to when the next one's going to be. It's probably hundreds of years from now. So this is a really it's a window for us right now to manifest. If you're into vision board, manifesting, anything like that, right now for the next, until the 20th, until Jupiter moves into Aries, this is a fantastic, magical time for all of us. It's very powerful. So if you believe in that, and I think you do if you're listening to this show, those are some big things to do. So that might be the energy you're picking up on, Rhonda. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay, Terry, we need to manifest that we're going to be rich so we can become snowbirds. No, but
I win the lottery.
Yeah, I just felt an oversensing gloom and doom. I was on an investigation on Saturday, and I had been jumped by something at the investigation site. So it could have been residue from that. I mean, I had to call in Archangel Michael to take care of it. But I came here on the drive up here. I'm like, something bad is going to happen. And I was like really protective and trying to watch where I was going and stuff, driving and everything, very cautious. But the last time I got something like this, 9/11 happened.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I hope nothing bad happens. I hope it's just some kind of shift in energy that I'm sensing.
I hope so too. And I'm sorry you're feeling that way, because there's nothing that's really, it's upsetting. I know that is when you have that instinct or that feeling like you're having. And especially if you are saying that the last time you had it was 9/11. I will say the planetary aspects that are happening right now, all the transits that were happening, they're personal, but like I started the podcast, it's also global. This is, we can't separate ourselves from the universe. Mm-hmm. And so what we're feeling is also being manifested outside of ourselves in the world. And, we see it with the women in Iran fighting and being persecuted and what's happening right now in the Ukraine. It's just so much going around globally that is, there's a lot of shift. There's a lot of shift right now. So,
and I think that's happening because of the shift.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it can't happen. I mean, we have to build up to that shift. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of what's going on. I mean, like you said earlier, Terry, every battle has winners and losers. Mm-hmm. So now with Pluto's a little dark planet because it's Scorpio, Scorpio's planet. And then Aquarius, to me, is very artful kind of a planet. So does that mean that not the dark arts, but is it like maybe art that's kind of on the dark side can be created now?
Aquarius is the planet that it's actually ruled by Uranus. All of this is such an old science / art form, right? And when they first, for example, had Scorpio and they assigned the ruling planet, did you know that its ruling planet was originally Mars? And it wasn't
Mars.
It wasn't Pluto until they discovered Pluto. So Mars is considered a sub-ruling planet of Scorpio, which, by the way, is also a ruling planet of Aries. So you too have the same. 2 of the 3 ruling planets you have are the same. Mm-hmm. Aquarius is a funky little planet. Aquarius is a planet of humanitarian issues, of freedom. Aquarius likes to rock the boat. It's also, and like I said, it's so freedom oriented that it's almost like if you can think of a illustration of one of those icebergs where you've got the little tip of the iceberg and you've got the big thing underneath it. That's Aquarius. There's a lot underneath the surface with Aquarius. They get psychic flashes as well, but it's not the same as Scorpio or Pisces. It's almost electric. It's almost electric that comes from a different part of the universe. It's tied to music. Everyone who is an Aquarian, and I know a lot of people, if they're Aquarian, they'll say, "Oh no, I'm not musical," but they really are connected to music more than almost any other sign. Even if they don't have great musical gifts, there's something very healing and understanding they have about music. So Aquarius is a very positive sign. It is very tied to creativity, but nothing dark or negative at all with Aquarius. As a matter of fact, it's a very enlightened sign. If there's any word that is applicable to Aquarius, it's being enlightened. So it's very fiercely independent, probably more so than any other sign. An Aquarian is probably not going to get married until they have really lived their life, and then they feel like they're missing out on something, and they never want to miss out on something. So then they jump into the whole marriage thing. So they that's a typical Aquarian. The two bachelor or bachelorettes of the zodiac are Sagittarius and Aquarius. They're the two that have a tendency to be very independent.
So, without picking sides, okay,
No.
what do you feel politically wise 2023 with this Pluto and Aquarius is going to manifest or shift?
The shift has already begun because we are in the cusp phase of this. It's at the tail end of Capricorn. It's getting ready to turn into Aquarius. And when it does, starting to lay the groundwork already. We're seeing uprising. We're seeing what's happening in the Ukraine. We're seeing so much that's going on now. We're going to see some, I would not be surprised if we start to see old systems fall away. Maybe Putin has had his last roar. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen. I think we're going to see the one thing about Aquarius, which is interesting. Aquarius, by the way, rules things like the internet and television, things like that. Whenever there have been prominent Uranus transits and it's always been things like when television was born. That was a combination of Leo and Uranus, a Leo and Aquarius. It was when that nodal axis was happening. And the same when social media and when computers started being in everyone's homes. That's very much a Uranus kind of thing. We've had such a struggle for more than the past 4+ years, but with communication and what's truth. Well, Uranus is very focused on that. Aquarius is very focused on truth. I think we're going to see a big debate in our world about information and truth and what is truth. It's hard to say how this is going to manifest and play out, but I'm hopeful. With Aquarius energy, with Uranus energy, and Pluto transiting that, Pluto transforms everything it touches. I have to say, the two of you, we have a Scorpio native and we have a Scorpio rising. Scorpio's not an easy sign to inhabit, and so when we come into this lifetime and we decide we're going to be a Scorpio in some way, we are agreeing to transform during this lifetime and transform for the good. It's a noble act. It really is. And I think it's an act that signifies an older soul, a soul that's been around the block a few times. When we have Pluto transiting Aquarius like that, like it's going to be, it is transforming our world. Where that will lead, I can guess, like I said, with things like television and the arts. But things like freedom, I think there's a possibility of us actually being able to possibly manifest a world that is a little more enlightened. I hope, please.
Well, that'd be nice.
and with communications and stuff, with it starting now, look at the stuff that's going on in China with iPhone.
Oh yeah. All of this, or Elon Musk with Twitter. Yeah.
Right. And Facebook's issues and stuff like that. But hopefully it will air out a lot of skeletons in the closets. And I'm not pointing fingers at the Republicans or the Democrats, but I'm actually pointing fingers at all of them because there's some negative ones on both sides of the fence. So hopefully this will air out a lot of the baddies and we'll get some good people in there and good energy.
Oh, absolutely. Also, Aquarius rules natively the 11th house, and that's the house of hopes and wishes and magic, manifesting our hopes and wishes. And so that is another element of that 11th house Aquarian Uranus energy that we have with Pluto transiting it. I think we're going to find that we're going to start discovering the power of our minds, the power that we all hold, our personal power. That's something that's very Aquarian. A personal power.
Maybe people will start actually using their minds.
Yes, exactly. Well, I think we've started to realize this collectively. in the past few years. You have The Secret, you have people that are starting to, it's becoming more common knowledge to have positive affirmations, to think positively. So hopefully that'll be one of the directions that we're going to go. One more thing that's happening, which is really interesting, is we have some eclipses. We always have two sets of eclipses. And just a real quick word about eclipses. Eclipses always fall in opposites, in opposite axis. And wherever the north and south node happen to be at this time, that's where we have the eclipse. We've been having eclipses, as you know, in Taurus and in Scorpio the past year and a half, where this is a year of shifting. We're going to be shifting from, and I'm sure you're very happy about that, Rhonda. Well, anyone with Scorpio in their chart.
My husband's Taurus too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Any Taurus, Scorpio energy, you're going to be happy about this, except Terri, you and I might not be so happy. Not that it's bad. It's going to shift. This is the year where it's going to shift from the Taurus, Scorpio to the Aries, Libra. So now Aries, Libra is going to get the love. So our first eclipse for this year is going to be a new moon solar eclipse in Aries on April 19th. That's going to be the first nice little Aries eclipse, but the good news is it's going to be a very positive eclipse. It's going to be a healing eclipse. We're going to be learning, all of us are going to learn how to start putting ourselves first and to take care of our needs. And start devoting ourselves to a spiritual practice to really nurture ourselves. That's going to be the general tone of all of this. So the node is on, and the actual node date where it does the big shift is on July 17th. That's when the north node enters Aries officially and the south node enters Libra. So yeah, that first new moon solar eclipse in Aries on April 19th, which the people who are listening now, they can mark their calendars because that's the first one that's coming up, and it's going to represent a major new beginning. So we have a lot of shifts in 2023 that are ushering in some beginnings of some new positive. It's like letting in the fresh air. You know how it is, like after you've been homebound all winter and your windows have been closed and you get that first spring thaw and you open up your windows and it feels so good to have that air coming in. That's what it's going to feel like. Just some brand new fresh air.
And that's in April?
April 19th.
April 19th.
And that's not going to give my husband much of a break because he's on the cusp of Taurus and Aries. So his birthday's the 20th of April.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. That's right there. Okay. And then, of course, it's whenever you have one eclipse, they come in pairs. So the full moon lunar eclipse is going to be in Scorpio on May 5th. So, and actually it's not a heavy duty one. There are no conflicts to this one, except it is going to be kind of playing around with Uranus a little bit, which means some change, but it's going to be positive change because we have a positive sextile with Jupiter happening on that day. So Jupiter is Santa Claus. Jupiter brings gifts. So you've got Jupiter, you got Uranus, and so that's going to be kind of a positive one. What happens? I do want to mention this. I love this philosophy, and I do find this to be true. Whenever our sign is going through something, whenever we've been challenged to grow, when we've faced up to that challenge and when we have met it and we've grown, the universe always leaves us a little present on the door on its way out. So Rhonda, I think you've got that full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio on May 5th. I think that's going to leave you a little gift. It's going to be a nice little thing that's going to happen. And then the next two eclipses are happening, a new moon solar eclipse in Libra on October 14th. And then we have a full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus on October 28th. And that's going to say goodbye to those Taurus Scorpio eclipse series. And then we'll be full enchilada into the Aries Libra eclipses. So that's that. And then I do want to mention one other really cool aspect that's happening this year, which is, let me see if I can find it here in my notes. We've got Jupiter is going to go into Taurus on May 15th. Poor Aries. We had to share our Jupiter transit with Pisces, which was kind of a bummer. But Aries, we do get Jupiter in our sign. Thank you. From December 20th all the way until May 15th. So that's going to be very nice. So Aries, we're going to be flavor of the month for a few months. That's going to be great. We're going to get all the Santa Claus presents and all that's going to be good.
That'd be nice for a change.
It is. It is. It's good for growth. It's going to bring all sorts of blessings to us. And then Jupiter is going to enter Taurus on May 15th. It's going to bring a lot of blessings to Taurus, and Taurus is in need of that right now. Taurus has been not only have they had that North Node, South Node axis with Scorpio that they've been doing and all those eclipses, but they also have Uranus in their sign right now. So Uranus brings a lot of change, not all of it pretty, it's all for the best, but it can be a test sometimes. So they're going to have that to look forward to on May 15th. So that's awesome news for them.
I have one quick question that's been bothering me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading a few things on Facebook that show different signs are more susceptible to being serial killers.
Like a Scorpio?
And I think the one that is the most susceptible is Virgo. Why would that be?
Innocent Virgo.
I think it's Virgo that I saw. Like most of them were Virgo.
You sure not Gemini?
And there's not even one Aries in the whole bunch.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You'd think it'd be Scorpio and Aries ganging up.
Nah. Aries do like their revenge.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not usually killers. They do other things.
Yeah, Scorpios will plan their attack.
But my sister's a Virgo. I don't think she's capable of being a serial killer. I'm sure not all Virgos are. But why do you think it would be?
I think that's, I don't even know how to respond to that, Terri.
Yeah, they were going by the names of, like, Gacy and Bundy and all them. And all these serial killers were mostly Virgos.
Yeah, but that's their sun sign. I wonder what their rising sign is and where their moon's at.
Yeah.
But wow, right?
That's
why Virgo?
I don't
Poor Virgo.
That's interesting, though.
That is interesting. Actually, poor Virgos. They're such a. I love Virgos.
I have a Virgo moon.
Oh my gosh, the Virgos are. I love Virgo moons too. Yeah, they're givers. They are. It's almost like they have chosen to come into this universe and give and be the universe planner. Like they're there to make everything nice and organized, and yes, they get a bad rap for being perfectionistic a little bit. That's a simplified version of Virgo, but they are probably the most selfless, hardworking, organized givers. They're just wonderful, and so I love a good Virgo, and I found out that,
and my mother-in-law was.
Yeah, I think they're just. There's such a loveliness to every planet. I think could be a serial killer, except I think Aries doesn't have the attention span to be, or Gemini. I don't. I say that as
you get bored too quick.
So, that's true. Yeah. We do get bored very quickly.
I know. Well,
I have a question, and I don't know whether you can answer this or not. But what about somebody that's in the family? Their birth date, say like somebody new is being born into the family on a day that another family member had passed away. What do you make of that?
I don't know. It could, I don't know. And it could be, I think the two of you are better poised to answer that than myself. Sometimes I feel like there might be some synchronicity in that and a beauty to that. As a matter of fact, I know this is kind of off the topic, but my puppy dog, my little puppy dog Ro here, he was born right next to my father's birthday. My father passed in 2019, and I was sort of wanting a sign if it was the right thing to do to adopt this little puppy. And the moment I heard that he was close to my father's birthday, because I don't normally get boy puppies, I normally get girl puppies. And so, I don't like the lifting of the leg and peeing on things. That's a little pet peeve of mine. But I decided to go for it. And I have to say, I'm not saying that my puppy is a reincarnated version of my father or anything, but it's just that little Sagittarius energy that he's got. So I don't know. Yeah. That's an interesting question. I would never pretend to know those things. That's the thing about astrology. Astrology is much more of a mathematical kind of technical art form. You just kind of sit there but I do find, though, what I find absolutely magical in the process are the synchronicities when you're looking at a chart. Is how it's amazing to me. It's sort of like digging through a treasure chest, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, these two things go together, and it's just amazing to me when you're unpacking a chart, the magic of it all. So, but yeah, it's a good question, but I don't know. That probably is not something I can answer, though.
Well, thanks for putting up with our strange questions.
Those are great questions.
We just kind of threw them at you.
Right. And I got a reading by you not long ago, and it was amazing.
Thank you.
I've been studying astrology for about 15 or so years now, and you taught me a thing or two. I highly recommend you to get a reading.
I recommend her all the time.
And she does also families as well. I think I suggested doing death charts.
Mm-hmm. You did.
Have you ever done any of those yet?
I have, and it's very
run like a birth opposite of a birth chart.
It's actually, that's an interesting thing, Rhonda, because I had toyed with that a little bit in the past, but had not really focused on it. And I just did one recently, and I did a lot of studying before I did it too. I really didn't want to go in. I wanted to make sure I was peeking under every under every drawer, right, to get all the information out. And I was really amazed. What I ended up doing is I did their actual chart. Because when you see where someone's south node and north node is, those are karmic placements. Those are not just this lifetime. That's past life, and that's where you're going. And then also Saturn has a lot to do with when you look at where Saturn's placed and all of those placements. That can tell you where you're going, where you've been. And then what I did is I took the time of this person's death and I laid those aspects on their chart, because people ask me this all the time. They say, can you tell when I'm going to die, or can you tell something like that? And you can't. If an astrologer tells you that I'm sorry, I disagree with that completely.
Because your path can change.
Yeah, we all have free will. I can tell you when things are going to suck. I can tell you when your challenges are going to happen. And it just so happened this one chart that I just did recently, a death chart that I did, or I don't know if you want to call it a death chart, but just sort of like a coming life chart, or, a multi-life chart. I will say the aspects that this person was facing at the time of their death were very challenging. And I can tell you, I do have people that I know, and I know what their planets are doing at the time, and I know what they're going through. So you can look at stuff and tell, hey, this person's really going through some stuff. No, you can't really tell when someone's going to die. But what I find interesting about that, Rhonda, and that was just that's a great question. I love that you asked that question. What's really interesting is, you can really start to see the challenges in that person's life and where they're going to be going with their next incarnation. It's beautiful. It really is such a beautiful thing. So
that sounds neat.
Yeah.
Also, if it's like a cold case, you have questions about whether did they kill themselves or was it an accident. I think maybe you could probably help determine that as well by running that chart, right?
Absolutely. You absolutely can. And also things like, for example, one of the things I like to ask people before I do a chart is I don't want people to tell me too much about themselves.
Yeah.
Because if you do, it's going to influence what I'm going to say to you. And I don't want to be influenced. But I might say something to you that might make more sense to you than it does to me. And if I'm judging you because of something you said, I don't want to have that edit going on in my brain, right? But in this particular chart, that reading that I was telling you about, the one that I just recently did, I had no idea anything about this person's life. And then as I was reading the chart, I was able to tell how they died and why they passed in this lifetime and what was leading up to it. Everything was there. It is sort of like being a detective and unpacking the box. Yeah.
That is way cool. And every once in a while work with a friend of mine who is an ex-police officer. And he does cold cases, so maybe I'll be sending him your way.
That'd be awesome. I think that's so cool. I hope I could be of some help. But yes, especially when you lay down not only their actual birth chart, but then the aspects at the time. I think it is very interesting to me. It really is.
I agree 100. And that's the Scorpio in me too. I'm always wanting to solve a puzzle and very curious. So, like I said, I've been involved in astrology for many years, and it's fascinating, and it's a lot to it than just your sun sign.
Oh, gosh, yes. Gosh. I love what you said earlier when you're asking about the rising sign, because I try to emphasize this every time I talk to people. Just most of us walk around thinking we're just our sun sign. and we have no idea, or you'll say to yourself, well, that's not true because I'm nothing like this. Well, our rising sign is half of who we are. And it's what determines when and how things happen to us. If I'm in Aries and Jupiter is transiting, and let's say I'm in Aries rising and Jupiter's going through my first house, that's going to be far different than an Aries who has a Cancer rising, which means their Aries would be on their 10th house. It's a completely different experience. And there's a big difference between, say, we have Terry's an Aries with a Scorpio rising, or let's say an Aries with a Gemini rising. You've got a completely different animal there. So it really makes a huge difference. Sure. Absolutely.
This is Jim jumping in here. I would like to say that you are our most popular guest that we've ever had on the podcast.
No way.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. The episode that you did with us has had more downloads than any other guest on our show. Yay. And so thank you so much. And I'm sure that this one will be another blockbuster.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it's always great. You're very generous with your time with us. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And once again, can you refresh us? And I'm sure that James will post it, but can you let everybody know how they can get a hold of you for one of your wonderful readings?
I actually have a website now, Mystical Musings by Michele. I don't know why I chose that. Mystical Musings by Michele.
And that's 2 L's or 1?
It's 1 L. So you can get me there. And then my email is tmichelewalker@gmail.com. It's really super easy. Yes, I am always available. I love doing it. I love doing readings. It's just one of those things that I just enjoy talking about it. You know what I mean? Don't you guys love talking about this stuff?
Well, it's your passion.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's something everybody should find their passion. The one thing that they can't stop talking about, And
right.
And for Rhonda and I, it's the paranormal.
Right.
Right.
And yours is astrology. And I think it's wonderful that we were finding all of these people that have these different passions, and we can bring them all together and have these nice little chats that we have.
Absolutely.
And folks, Michele's prices are extremely reasonable. For the amount of work that she puts into a reading and her talent, it's very, very, very reasonable.
Well, thank you for saying.
Even I could afford it.
Well, she used to charge less until I told her to hike the price.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm taking full responsibility for her charging more.
And 20% commission.
You're the reason why I charge what I do, because you threatened me.
Well, I have heard that there's a medium out there, a local one, who has mentors that she charges. Mm-hmm. And then every person that they read for, she gets 20%.
Get out of here.
Right.
Can you believe that?
There's a word for that.
And I'll tell you who that is when we get off the air.
Capitalism.
Please do.
Huh?
Michele said there's a word for that, and I said capitalism.
Well, that too.
See there, we're doing something wrong.
I was thinking the word pimp, but capitalism too, I guess.
Oh,
right?
Hey, that word.
Oh, you Florida girls, you're kind of crazy.
The Gator Girls.
Are we still on the air?
Well, we're going to have to.
Thanks.
We're going to have to do a road trip down there, and maybe we'll bring James and his wife along and have a jolly old time and do a podcast show and maybe do Disneyland or Disney World.
Oh, we have to do that.
Wonderful.
Wouldn't that be nice?
We absolutely
they have a haunted hotel.
I can go down there and wrangle some gators. I'll wrangle some gators and
maybe I'll find some old guy with one foot in the grave.
I'll find the crocodile.
Maybe I'll finally get a date.
Maybe he'll forget what you do, Terry.
And another one.
You'll tell him, and then he'll forget it.
It's like every day I'll have to tell him the same thing. You know what I do. I do reading.
1 foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel.
Oh my gosh!
Give him a push.
This is my world, Michele. And, thanks for sharing it with me. All right, thank you. All right, bye now. Thanks. Yeah, bye.
Bye, Michele.
Bye.
I'm so glad that we've had a chance to get such a clear picture of the incredible energy shift beginning later this month. Thanks so much, Michele. On March 20th, we really step inside the lives of Terri and Rhonda. They share the difficulties and the challenges that come along with life as a medium. Don't miss this rare opportunity to go behind the scenes of mediumship. Then, on April 3rd, we present another Producer's Corner, where I bring you part 1 of a very intense interview with a woman who has experienced a near-death experience. Please listen as she describes what it's like to die and what happened to her after that. This episode has stayed with me and really had an impact on me. Please don't miss it. And remember, follow us wherever you listen to podcasts and join us on March 20th for Terri and Rhonda Revealed. Until then.